Most people are under the impression that you can't obtain all your nutrients from a diet that excludes meat and dairy products, but this is a major misconception. You can completely gain all the nutrients necessary for proper metabolic processes and normal functioning from a plant-based diet, given the caveat that you supplement with a B12, but we're gonna go over that later in the video. I'm also going to cover the 5, potentially 6, depending on the way you look at it, food groups on a plant-based diet, and how to vary your intake from each of those groups to ensure you're getting adequate nutrition. And then we're gonna touch base on lab work that may be helpful periodically, and then supplementation. So if you enjoy videos on plant-based lifestyles and nutrition and information in general, please subscribe. I try to get videos out every Monday and sometimes Thursdays at the moment. So I hope to see you back. Let's get into the 5 plant-based food groups. So I'm just gonna be referencing my notes from time to time. That's what I keep staring at. So we're gonna have whole grains, and it's important that you keep the grain in its most natural, intact form as possible. So that would be like rice instead of rice pasta, or brown rice instead of white rice, for example. Then we're gonna have legumes, and that includes beans, peas, chickpeas, lentils. There's a ton of variety that I had no idea existed until I became plant-based. So don't feel this is a restrictive diet on any level, because I've been doing this for many years and I still haven't tried everything out there, and I probably never will get the chance, because there is so many species of plants that are edible and very nutritious for humans. So the next one is veggies, would be the 3rd plant-based food group, and that is pretty obvious. Everybody knows how healthy veggies are. These include starchy vegetables as well as non-starchy vegetables. So the starches being potatoes and squashes and carrots and corn, those types of vegetables, as well as the above ground, more water-based vegetables like bell peppers and cucumbers and tomatoes and such. And then the 4th group is going to be fruits. Again, I'm sure we're all very familiar with fruits. So your melons, your pineapple, your apples, oranges, bananas, very, very good for you. That's where you're gonna get a ton of your antioxidants. And then the last one is only required for minuscule amounts, but it is so important: nuts and seeds. So that would be chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds. You have a huge variety again, and nuts. Peanuts are technically a legume, but they always get put in this category. And cashews, hazelnuts, walnuts are particularly high in ALA, alpha linolenic acid. Yeah, I always mess that one up because there's 2 kinds that are so similar. But yeah, very good for your nutrition, your short chain fatty acids. And then I just want to mention briefly that I feel spices and herbs should have their own category. So sometimes there could be 6 food groups in the plant-based diet. Or if you guys hear my dogs, they're kind of loud. They're pugs, so their noses are all scrunched up and it's hard for them to breathe, so they're very noisy. Where was I? So yes, herbs and spices. That would be turmeric, rosemary, thyme, cloves, garlic powder, onion powder. There are so many to choose from, as well as different combinations to try. I think that makes cooking particularly fun for this type of diet. So making sure you vary your intake from each of these food groups is going to ensure that you do not develop any kind of deficiency, nutritional wise. So I try to get, I switch up my greens on a regular basis, my grains, my legume. I usually eat several a day, so I'll try to make different combinations and try something different every time. And then your veggies, that's easy to get a wide variety in your fruits as well. So as long as you're getting a little bit from each food group and a varied type of food from each of those food groups, you should have no problem. You only have to vary your intake on more of a weekly basis than a daily basis. That's really what matters, is that comprehensive time period as opposed to a day by day. So then I'm going to talk about your lab work. This is particularly important when you're initiating a plant-based diet. So you're going to want to get your nutritional levels documented post and prior, just to see where you're at. And then ask your physician to determine periodically how often you should get your lab work retested. And that will let you know where you need to tweak your diet a little bit. After you make changes, come back, get some more blood work done, and they can tell you whether or not those changes made a difference. Sometimes the rate of absorption for different nutrients is very individualized. So from person to person, this could vary drastically. Particularly with things like your omega-3s, your short chain fatty acids, those nuts and seeds, avocados, walnuts, those types of foods. So lastly, supplements. Now, like I said in the beginning, B12 is non-negotiable. Even meat eaters tend to be deficient in B12, so it's highly recommended by the leading nutrition experts that are out there today. This is something that we used to obtain from eating like dirty vegetables that, you know, you just pick out of the ground and eat, instead of washing them very thoroughly and using all these different pesticides and such that we use today. Our modern sanitation systems have kind of destroyed the microorganisms that we would ingest and then create the B12 in our gut. So that one should be taken, I believe it's, Dr. Greger recommends 50 micrograms per day, split up 3 times. The technical RDI is 2.4, 3 times a day, but it was just changed January 1st, 2020. And otherwise you can take like up to 2,000 micrograms twice a week, or up to 1,000 twice a week, so 2,000 total. I'm currently lactating, so I take 2,000 to 3,000 per week, and I just had my labs checked and it's right where it needs to be. But again, that's very individualized, so make sure you get your own levels. Don't take my word for it. And then vitamin D is another one that's particularly important for all individuals, regardless of what diet you're on, because we don't get out in the sun as much as we used to, and lots of us live in colder climates. So iodine is another supplement you might want to consider. This one mainly comes from sea vegetables, and personally I don't get a ton of sea vegetables. I can't even buy them from most stores in my area. I could definitely get them online, and that's where I get my supplements from, but it's just not a vegetable I've been too fond of, I guess, just yet. So the moral of supplements is that you don't want to overdo it, and you never want to take a supplement that you don't need. So be very wary of multi vitamins, because just because you need 1 or 2 or 3 things in that pill doesn't mean you need the slew of the remainder vitamins and minerals. But again, this is something you need to speak with your physician about. Don't take my word for it, and do your own research, because they're not even 100% accurate on that information. Sometimes doctors get very little nutrition education, to the point where it's like maybe 5 hours out of their entire education, and then their continuing credits, they do not obtain further information in that area, regardless of how important it is. But if you want more information on supplements, I will link my other video down below. And yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Again, deficiencies on a plant-based diet are no more common than deficiencies on a typical standard westernized diet. Just be sure to get those varied foods from those 5 different food groups, and you will have no problems. All right, I'll see you next time.